Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Unthinkable Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Anmol Satija, bringing you the latest insights from the world of technology. Today, we have an interesting topic lined up for you, one that's becoming increasingly crucial in our digital age. I'm talking about the critical role of human factor in building a cyber-aware culture. So, did you know that according to a recent study, 95% of cybersecurity breaches occur when employees unintentionally compromise security protocols, such as by clicking on a phishing links or using weak password or even failing to install a software updates on time. With cyber attacks becoming more sophisticated, it is clear that technology alone isn't enough to protect us. We really need to focus on the human element, that is our behaviors, our awareness and our actions, to truly create a secure environment. So to delve deeper into this topic, I'm thrilled to welcome Neelkanth Kaushik, who is the lead of Cybersecurity COE at Unthinkable Solutions. Neelkanth is an expert in the field of cybersecurity with years of experience in helping organizations build robust security frameworks and foolproof applications. He's here to share his valuable insights on why cyber awareness is so critical and how we can foster a culture that prioritizes cybersecurity. Neelkanth, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Anmol, and it is a pleasure to be here with you.
So let's jump right into the conversation, Neelkanth. I recently heard about a major data breach that happened at a very well-known financial institution. Despite having state-of-the-art security systems in place, it was just a simple phishing email that led to the compromise of sensitive customer data. So, given your extensive experience, Neelkanth, what are your thoughts on this?
See, Anmol, cyber awareness and cyber security is really very critical for any business because it serves as the first line of defense against cyber threats.
Right.
The technology is evolving very rapidly, and on the daily basis, the hackers are evolving their techniques of doing the data breaches and attacking the servers of the businesses with the use of more sophisticated tools than ever. So it is no longer just about having the right technology because technology is always evolving. Human behavior is always there to play a significant role in either mitigating or exacerbating those risks. Now, for example, take the Twitter hack in the year 2020, where one group of hackers actually did some social engineering with the on the employees of the Twitter, and they gained the access to the administrative systems where they could manipulate and post on the behalf of any user.
Oh.
In that attack, around 130 accounts were hacked in the duration of around 2 hours.
Okay.
And those accounts were of very much, the VVIP persons. And they used this attack to promote a Bitcoin scam.
Okay.
So, for example, they used the account of Apple, the official account of Apple, to post a link where they were asking money from the users of Twitter to transfer the money in the form of cryptocurrency. And during this attack, around more than $1 lakh US have been earned by those hackers by doing this kind of phishing attacks. So, basically, the thing is, this incident clearly shows that even having the most advanced security systems, it can be bypassed if the human element is compromised.
Right. Absolutely, Neelkanth. The example you gave just now is very critical and clearly highlights how crucial human awareness and behavior are in preventing cyber threats, right? While it is clear that fostering a cyber-aware culture is essential, not all the companies prioritize this aspect, right? Some may think that their technological defenses are sufficient, or they might underestimate the risk associated with the human error. So you must have also encountered the same scenarios while dealing with certain clients. So can you set the stage for us on this, and what are some potential consequences for the companies that clearly neglect this aspect?
Yeah, sure. So Anmol, the human factor is integral to the cybersecurity. We cannot ignore that. When employees are well informed and they know that what kind of measures they have to take while dealing with the cybersecurity. So the employees are the first line, or not the employees, I would say the human factor is the first line of defense against cyber threats. Conversely, when cyber awareness is neglected, the repercussions can be devastating on multiple fronts. So let me give you some examples of those potential outcomes that are generally seen in all types of cyber attacks which have happened in the years before. So, for example, the most important aspect of any impact of any cybersecurity breach is the financial loss.
Right.
Okay. So cyber attacks can result in a direct financial theft where you see that some money can be transferred from the victim's account to the hacker's account. Okay. The hackers send you malicious emails, and when you click on those links or download or run any kind of file, they just encrypt your hard disk, and then they ask for the payments to be transferred into their account, which is known as the ransomware attacks. So these are some direct financial loss impact of any cybersecurity breach. Now, for example, in the year 2017, Equifax breach happened, which exposed the personal information of about 147 million people. And the overall cost involving all the legal expenses, all the legal suits that have been filed by multiple parties, the compliances, the everything, all in all, in a total of $1.4 billion have been paid by the company in settlements and other expenses.
That is a huge amount.
Yes. So this is one of the important parts. And the next thing is obviously the reputational damage to the business.
Right.
Okay. So basically, for example, if you take any company who is working in the field of, say, any business from a long years, so they have gained a lot of respect in the market. Okay. Their partners, their investors, they have a lot of trust in the organization. But when a cybersecurity incident happens and the world comes to know that something has happened in the company which has impacted their business, so they lose the trust in that organization.
Right.
Because they think that organization has failed to protect the sensitive information about their business. Now, this loss of trust can lead to a decline in customer loyalty and drop in stock prices.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
So, the Twitter attack that I mentioned before in 2020, it led to an instant 4% drop in the stock market price of Twitter. Okay, so it was a direct impact, and over the coming days, the company faced a lot of challenges for handling that impact so that it could be minimal. They did a lot of mitigations. They had to do a lot of things. So you see, this is a kind of indirect financial loss where the company had to spend a lot of money in order to gain the reputation back. They have to tell the investors, they have to tell the users that everything is okay, nothing much has happened. So this is also a kind of impact which we see. Then coming on to the regulatory penalties, for example, if you are working in a certain industry which is governed by stringent regulations regarding the data protection and cybersecurity. For example, you can take the financial industry, which is currently on the boom, the fintech. So, failing to comply with the regulations such as PCI DSS, okay, they can result in hefty fines and legal penalties. They run into millions of dollars.
Right.
It is not a small amount. For example, in the General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR) in the European Union, the companies can be fined up to 4% of their annual global turnover for the data breaches.
And GDPR is one of the crucial compliance, I think, irrespective of the industry, right?
Yes, not only in the European Union, now the India is also coming up with their own personal data protection law. And every country in the world sooner or later will have this law in their country to protect the rights and the personal data of their citizens. This is very important because, personal data is something that can be misused by hackers to do anything that we can't even imagine.
Yes, actually, it is the need of the hour.
Yes. Now, the next impact is the operational disruption, and this is also a direct impact where you can see, for example, let's take the example of Twitter again. When the attack happened, when the 130 accounts were compromised, so at that time, as an instant measure, they stopped their users to post or tweet anything new.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that happening.
What they did, the users could only like the existing posts, or they could only retweet the existing posts. So this is a kind of operational disruption. Where one of the main features of Twitter is to tweet something, where the user comes to not only to see the tweets of others, but to tweet themselves also. For example, you see all the news media agencies, they post their latest updates on the Twitter. Now, at that time, they were not able to do so.
Right.
So, this is a kind of operational disruption. There are other attacks as well. For example, in the 2017 NotPetya attack, which initially targeted companies in Ukraine.
Okay.
So they had to there were multinational corporations involved in it, and they had to reinstall 4,000 servers and 45,000 PCs, leading to weeks of operational disruption. So this is a mass level of attack which involves multiple companies, but even a small company or even a single company can be impacted a lot by this.
Agreed.
Then there are impacts on the loss of intellectual property, where the cyber attacks can lead to theft of intellectual rights, including trade secrets, proprietary technology, and confidential business strategies, which can be very much, you can say, devastating for the companies which operate in the highly competitive industries,
right,
where they develop cutting edge technologies, they have patents. So these kind of things can lead to a lot of IP violations in it. Then there are legal liabilities. Whenever there is something happens in the case of any cyber attack, the customer, partners, investors, shareholders, they sometimes file the lawsuits on the company because they have failed to protect the sensitive information adequately. So the legal cost, it can be lengthy. The legal battle can be lengthy. The cost can run into millions depending on the lawyer that the company is hiring and multiple factors. So, for example, the Yahoo, after its 2013 data breach, they faced multiple lawsuits, which eventually the overall cost for the settlement came to around $117 million.
Okay.
So, and then last thing is the employee morale and the productivity. The employees who are working in those companies, they also feel stressed, and they are also demoralized when they come to know that their company, the business, has faced such kind of attack and the information has been leaked. Now, at that instant, no one knows that the news is also not clear that what kind of attack has happened, what has been leaked, whether it is what is the value of that data which has been breached. But overall, at that moment, the employees face a lot of moral and productivity issues. At that time, it has been noticed because of the disrupted work environment. Correctly. So basically, if you say the Twitter, when they stopped everyone to stop that tweeting of new posts, so all the employees that were working on Twitter must have been feeling that something bad have happened. Even they delayed their new API release by many days, which is ready to get to go live. So these are some of the impacts that we can say that happens during or you can say which impacts the businesses.
Thank you so much, Neelkanth, for that comprehensive overview and those interesting examples. I think it is clear that negligence can have far-reaching and severe consequences for any organization. Like you know, just like you mentioned, that those big organizations like Twitter and Yahoo can also face those repercussions. So now, from financial losses and reputational damage to regulatory penalties and operational disruptions, the impact really can be overwhelming, right? So given the high stakes, it is crucial for companies to understand not just the importance of a cyber aware culture, but also the common pitfalls employees might fall into. Like, after all, awareness is the first step towards prevention, right? So, what are some of the most common cybersecurity mistakes that employees tend to make?
Yes. So Anmol, employees of the companies, basically, as I said before, we consider them as the first line of defense. But at the same time, being on the front line, they are the first line of defense. So at the same time, they are also most vulnerable to the cyber attacks. The hackers basically use sophisticated social engineering techniques where they gain the trust of the employees so that they can extract the data from them. So basically, some common mistakes which employees make that I want to highlight is the most common are the weak use of weak passwords.
Right.
Okay. So generally, in order to be easy to remember, to use easy to remember passwords, the employees use a very simple password that are very easy to guess. For example, if an employee's birthday is 31st August, so they can just simply write down that that only for the purpose of remembering the password, they can contain like 3108 and AUG, like that kind of password they can make and they can set up. But these kind of passwords are very weak and they can be easily guessed by anyone. For example, if I know your birth date, so and I know that I can try out that combination of characters and numbers.
Right.
So that is an example that using the weak passwords is one of the most easy things that the cyber criminals use to gain the access. And at the same time, reusing of passwords as well. It is one of the most unintentional mistake the employees make. They use the same passwords on their multiple devices, etc.
Right.
Okay, for example, you are using the same password for your Google account and you are using the same password for your laptop as well. So once any cyber criminal has known what your password is, they can try it out on the multiple platforms.
Right.
So basically, using weak passwords and reusing passwords, this is related to all the credential theft that the cyber criminals make. And on the part of certain guidelines, on the basis of certain guidelines, for example, in the web development and the software engineering world, we have OWASP guidelines for the secure application development, where it is being forced, or you can say it is being guided by those guidelines, that the developers are basically they are guided in the direction to create the password policies so strictly that the user or the employee should not be able to use the weak password in any case. The system doesn't even allow you to use the weak password. They force you the password to have special characters, non-repeatable numbers, like that. Okay. And for reusing the password, same guidelines also apply. For example, if you have already used the password one time on the Google account, if you Google account, not just Google, I'm just giving you an example. If you try to reset your password, and if you give the same old password again, you won't be able to set that password. Okay,
It doesn't accept.
so these are certain guidelines from OS that help keeping these kind of password related security issues at bay. Now the one coming on to the employees, that how they act as the first line of cyber attack. As I said before, the cyber criminals use sophisticated social engineering techniques to trick the employees on clicking the phishing emails. Okay. For example, they can send an email from a authentic looking email ID. For example, the email could come from some source which you think that okay, this is an official resource, and they might be having some kind of file in it. And they say that just download it and run it on your system, and that's it. So once the employees falls victim to these phishing scams, they reveal sensitive information. For example, the cyber criminal might have created a website where they take the user employee to there, and they will ask them to enter their user password and username and password. So from there they extract the actual username and password of the user.
Okay.
So sometimes even after proper training, the hackers have become so much professional. They trick the employees on clicking the suspicious links and open the attachments from unknown sources. Then sometimes the employees share sensitive information out of nowhere, or maybe some out of their unintentionally. So, for example, you are having a lunch with your colleague, and during the conversation, you reveal some kind of sensitive information.
Right.
Such as that you received an email from somewhere and did this, or might be you shared your username or password to your colleague over the chatting or on the WhatsApp. So you don't realize the risk involved. That you say that you are sharing it with someone that whom you trust, but you don't know that whether that person can also be tricked by some cyber criminal. They can gain the access because they can impersonate them as a genuine employee, and they can ask that okay, Anmol might have sent you something. Can you please forward it to me? So unintentionally, these kind of sensitive informations are being shared by the employees internally and sometimes externally as well. Yeah. Now coming on to the next thing, that these are some things that users do unintentionally. But sometimes, in this era of remote work and people are working from home, and sometimes people work from anywhere, like from the cafes or maybe restaurants.
Right.
So what they do, they get the password from that the cafe or restaurant, and that Wi-Fi's and those public Wi-Fi's are not secured at all.
Okay.
You don't know whether a hacker is already sitting in the cafe with you as well, and he's just monitoring the traffic going from the Wi-Fi network of that cafe. Okay. So for example, if the Wi-Fi network where you are accessing your official company system or laptop is not secured, those hackers can actually you can say it is known as the man in the middle attack technically. So they can actually eavesdrop into your conversation, and they can extract the data. And it is not very difficult to do. It is a very old technique, and with the advent of more advanced techniques, this has become easier than ever. Okay. So if you have noticed, the banks actually suggest the people not to use their enter their banking credentials while using a public Wi-Fi network.
Public Wi-Fi, okay.
You can do it in your home, you can do it in your office, because they are highly protected network, but the public networks are rarely protected. Okay, and now coming on to the next thing, it is very general when we have faced it during our college times and school times as well. That whenever our friend has given us a movie or song in the USB pen drive, we just plugged it into our laptop and we said that our system has been infected with the virus.
Right.
Okay. Now, when talking about the business in the terms of business or an organization level security, those USB devices can contain malware that can infect your laptop, and it can be used to extract the data from the laptop itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, these days, the technology has become so much easier to access that, for example, if someone offers, if you are looking for a USB charger to charge your mobile, okay, and you ask someone, or maybe you find a USB wire lying somewhere, or sometimes in the public as well, in the public domain, there are certain points where there are charging points which can be used by the user. So as soon as you plug your mobile phone in those USB devices, those wires actually act as a remote connection.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is also suggested not to use any publicly or unknown USB devices or even the mobile chargers with your company or official device. Then next is ignoring the security policies. Basically, the thing is that sometimes employees bypass or ignore the established security policies, the process that have been established by the cybersecurity team. Out of inconvenience, they think that this might save them some time, or because of lack of understanding, it creates a lot of security gaps. Okay.
So, I think those are some really eye-opening examples, Neelkanth, that you gave just right now. I think it is clear that even a small mistake can have a significant repercussions when it comes to, cybersecurity. Given the variety of potential mistakes, it is essential for an organization to be proactive in identifying and addressing these issues before they escalate into a major problem. So, Neelkanth, let's explore this further. How can organizations identify and address these common mistakes before they lead to a larger issues?
Yes, Anmol. So, cybersecurity is more about prevention.
Okay.
So, the organizations must take proactive steps to educate and support their employees. Organizations can significantly reduce the risk of common cybersecurity mistakes and create a more resilient security posture by properly training and be proactive in terms of dealing with the cybersecurity threats. Early identification and intervention is the key.
Right.
Prevent these small mistakes from turning into significant security incidents. So let me give you some strategies that the organizations can use. So very first is the regular security audits and assessments. As you know, we at Unthinkable also offer security audits and assessments for web applications, mobile applications, clouds,
Right.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So these all comes under the terminology of VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So conducting regular audits and assessments of your security practices, infrastructure, your digital assets, it can help identify vulnerabilities and areas where the employees might be making mistakes early on. For example, a security audit might reveal that employees are not following the password policies, as I said before. So might be the employees are setting very weak passwords. They are not updating the softwares on time. So these kind of proactive security audits and assessments can be used to identify the loopholes which exist in your system.
Okay.
Then there are certain phishing simulation and social engineering tests which enables the organization to test their employees' awareness about the phishing attacks and the social engineering and how they respond to them.
Okay.
So these simulations can help identify employees who might need additional training to understand the risk involved and to fix fix those loopholes as of the human factor that we are talking about. Then comes the continuous monitoring and logging of the systems. Now, this also comes under this is not only limited to only the employees, but also it can be done for the users of the business or the customers as well.
Okay.
Yes. So we should, the organization should deploy continuous monitoring and logging of their network activity, and also the maintain the audit logs and the activity logs of everything that has been going on in their network or in their application, whether it being a mobile application or web application. So this monitoring and logging allows for the detection of unusual or suspicious behavior that can create a security issue. For example, let's take an example of a mobile app which allows money transfer from one person to another. For example, if you notice that after multiple wrong OTP or password inputs, your mobile app or the bank app gets blocked for some hours.
Some hours, right.
Okay. So this is basically an example of monitoring and logging. They are actually monitoring how their users are using their applications. So it may be the case that someone's mobile phone might have been stolen, and the thief has been try out multiple inputs for the password. So after 5 or 6 wrong inputs, they have added a threshold that after this your account will be blocked for around 24 hours or 1 day, like this. So for example, let's coming back to the employees part. Employees account, if the employee is accessing sensitive data at unusual times after the office hours, let's say at the night at 3 p.m. or might be 2 p.m. So it could be a sign of a compromised account.
Okay.
It might be the case that the hacker has stolen some kind of credential, login credential, and they are thinking that at this time of night, no one will notice what they will do. But if we have a continuous proper monitoring and logging service setup, so those logs and the computer can actually itself trigger an automatic email to the system administrator that something is going on which is not usual, so that they can look into it.
Right.
Then there should be some setup of feedback loops where the employees can report suspicious activities or potential security issues to their IT administrator or the cybersecurity team. Basically, this encourages a culture where the reporting is seen as a positive action.
Okay.
For example, if you notice that in your laptop has suddenly became very slow, or it is hanging a lot of times, which is not there before, and you don't know the reason behind it.
Right.
Okay? So it can be the case that some malware might be running in your laptop behind the scenes, which we are not aware of. So if there is a channel being set up between the employees and the cybersecurity team, they can report it, and then the cybersecurity team can look into the issue, whether it is an insecurity incident or it is something related to your laptop's hardware. And this helps in catching the issues early on, this kind of feedback loops. Then there are regular trainings and refresher courses for the employees that can be very much useful, because over the time sometimes we as humans have a tendency to forget the things that what have been told to us.
Right.
So for example, we can set up a regular training trainings for our employees, which not only includes the non-technical employees but also the developers or the software engineers in terms of IT, in terms of IT companies or that sort of thing, where the developers can stay updated about the latest threats and the latest development and the practices which are being used by which should be used by the developers to counter the latest threats. They can use the real world examples and interactive sessions to make the learning much more engaging and effective.
Agreed.
Then having a clear set of policies and procedures set up within the organization is very important because it is the policy and procedure which actually drives the entire cybersecurity in any organization.
Right.
If there is no proper process set up, or if there is no policy regarding the data retention, data protection, data privacy, so no one will know that what needs to be done and how it is to be done.
Right.
The policies tells you what needs to be done, and the procedure tells you how it is to be done, how it is to be executed, how to achieve that policy. So having a clear set of policy and procedures written in simple language, which can be understood even by a layman, it is very important. And it is also equally important to release the updates in the policies and procedures to your employees so that they are also aware about the latest changes.
Right.
Then another thing that the organizations can do, they can set up role-based access controls.
Okay.
Rather than giving someone person a credential and a username and password and just giving them some permissions, there should be a group of people, a group of roles that should be made. That this employee has this set of permissions only. If they want any other permission, their role has to be changed.
Okay.
So in this way, for example, an employee having only 5 permissions cannot execute any kind of action which is not permitted to them, or they need a higher role for them to execute it. So in this way, it is not easy for the hacker just to gather, access the username and password and to perform any action, because in that case they have to escalate to another role as well, to anything which is not which that user is not authorized to do so.
Okay.
So having a role-based access control is very important.
Those are some incredible, insightful strategies, Neelkanth. But I would like to say, however, even with the best practices in place, misconceptions can still persist, right? Which can influence employee behavior and decision making in ways that may not align with an organization's security goals. So, according to you, are there any misconceptions about cybersecurity as well that contribute to these common mistakes? And if so, maybe you can share some of those with us.
Yeah, so basically, Anmol, misconceptions are there in the field of cybersecurity as well, and most of the time it is the human factor that gets impacted by the misconceptions.
Okay.
So just let me highlight some of them. So many employees think that cybersecurity is the only responsibility for the IT department only, and they don't need to do anything. It is the IT department who will be setting up everything, and anything which will happen, it will be IT department's responsibility. But in reality, the cybersecurity is a shared responsibility.
Right.
The IT department can implement and manage security measures, but every employee plays a crucial role in maintaining the security, as we mentioned before, like following the policies, procedures, and everything. So IT department can set up policies, procedures, and they can do the technical things. But when it comes to following those practices, it is the employees that needs to take care of that.
Right.
Then it is one of the major misconceptions that the small businesses think that they are not vulnerable to the cyber attacks. But cyber criminals are actually targeting more of smaller organizations because they know that they might have not implemented stronger cybersecurity measures.
Oh.
So, in fact, in comparison to the larger organizations, the smaller ones are more vulnerable.
Okay.
And rather than this, I would say that every organization, regardless of its size, it is a potential target, because for hackers, they think that even extracting some kind of information could be valuable.
Right.
For example, take an example of any company who has just started out doing a business, and they have a list of 10 clients. Okay, so might be the hackers might be trying to gain insight at what this business is doing, what are their potential clients are,
Right.
and they might be selling the data to your competitor.
Right.
That's why being small is not that you are not vulnerable. And then, as we discussed before, that using the passwords, strong passwords are very important. But some employees believe that using strong passwords are enough, and it is all that they need to do. But in reality, setting strong password is essential, but it is just only one aspect of a security strategy. And these days, there are multi-factor authentications where you get the OTPs on your mobile number. Regularly updating and changing your passwords is also important. And having a constant monitoring that whether you have shared your password with someone or has someone seen you entering your password. This is very important. So, having a strong password is not enough, but even to maintain the integrity of password is also equally important. Then, some people think that if they install any antivirus in their mobile phone or laptop, so they are immune to any kind of cyber attack. But this is not the case. Antivirus software is important, but it cannot protect you from against all types of attacks, especially which involves the social engineering and the zero-day exploits. So the zero-day exploits is something which has been reported today only, and the antiviruses have not updated themselves. So those vulnerabilities can be exploited by the hackers. So multiple layer of security approaches needed in this.
Okay.
Yeah. And another thing is, some employees think that cybersecurity is all about technology. It is not about kind of human factor that we are talking about.
Okay.
So cybersecurity is not all about technology. It is the human behavior, which is equally a critical component. Training the employees, having awareness sessions, creating a strong security culture are essential to complement the technological aspects of the cybersecurity.
Right.
So these were some of the things that the misconceptions which employees have.
Thank you for shedding light on those misconceptions, Neelkanth. And I think now it is clear how they can lead to significant vulnerabilities within an organization. Moving on, given the importance of awareness and behavior in maintaining cybersecurity, I think it is vital for any organization to not only implement initiatives but also measure their effectiveness, right? So, understanding what works and what doesn't can help them refine their strategies and ensure continuous improvement in security practices. So, I would like to ask you, how can organizations measure the effectiveness of their cyber awareness initiatives? Like, are there any KPIs or metrics that they should be looking at?
Anmol, this is equally important to measure the effectiveness of the cyber awareness and the cyber security in any organization, because it helps them understand what are the gaps that needs to be filled and what are the improvements that are needed to be done. Because as you know, the cybersecurity landscape is always evolving. So
Right.
we can't say that whatever was there last year, it is not correct to say that it will be practical to use today as well. So there are some effective strategies that the organizations can use to measure their cybersecurity initiative. So Very first is the simulation and the simulation training that I talked about. Tracking the percentage of employees who have clicked on the simulated phishing emails. Okay, so for example, they can see that out of 1,000 test phishing emails the cybersecurity team has sent, around 100 have clicked on them.
Okay.
So it shows you that still the 100 people are still not aware about it.
Right.
And a decreasing click rate over the time after the proper training indicates that employees are getting aware and we are reducing the threat surface of the organization. Same is with the knowledge assessments, the training sessions that have been conducted for the employees. After those knowledge assessments, there should be quizzes or interactive sessions where the employees are actually need to answer certain questions. So to check, so that the cybersecurity department can check that what has been the impact of the training on them, whether the training has been effective or not. Answering some questions like whether you will click on this email or not, like that. So they will come to note that how much impactful the training has been.
Right.
Then one of the things that I discussed before is the feedback loop, where the employees can tell the cybersecurity department about certain issues. So if there is an increase in the reporting, it indicates a heightened awareness and vigilance from the employee side. You can the cybersecurity department can assess the quality and accuracy of the reported incidents to ensure that employees are correctly identifying and describing the potential threat.
Okay.
Yeah. Training participation, you can just by tracking the attendance rate or the employees who have joined the training sessions. It enables to measure the engagement levels, that how much employees are actually willing to take up those sessions. So it can help us help you understand whether to add interactive elements to the training sessions or to make it more engaging so that more of them join. Then there can be surveys that can be conducted by the employees, asking them certain questions, whether they have updated their antivirus or not, whether they have changed their password or not, whether they have using a proper combination of characters and special characters in their password or not. So this will these kind of surveys help us understand the understand the effectiveness of cybersecurity awareness initiatives that we are talking about here. Then there are incident response metrics that over the time reduced incidents can indicate that the awareness and preparedness have improved, like that kind of thing. So these are some of the metrics that the organizations can use on a very basic level and on the advanced level as well, just to understand that how their employees are behaving and how much aware they are.
Right. That offers a very well-rounded view of where an organization stands. Now, as we look at the future, technology continues to evolve at a rapid pace, like you've mentioned multiple times as well. And with it, the tools and technologies available to bolster cybersecurity. One of the most intriguing developments in recent years have been the rise of AI and ML, right? So how do you see the role of AI and ML evolving in the field of cybersecurity?
So basically, Anmol, AI and machine learning are set to play transformative roles in the cybersecurity. Hackers are already using them,
Right.
craft sophisticated attacks. They are using them to write down professionally looking phishing emails, so that there is no way to identify or differentiate between the real email and a phishing email. The AI, the generative AI is helping them to create and draft those professional emails. So they are already using it. But from the part of using it for our own protection, the AI and machine learning can analyze vast amounts of data in real time, and they can detect anomalies and potential threats that traditional methods might miss or might take more time.
Right.
For example, the machine learning algorithms can identify patterns indicating of a phishing attack or a malware infection just by analyzing the anomalies in the network traffic, which is going through our Wi-Fi or our internet. It can also help us in doing the predictive analysis. For example, by analyzing historical data and the trends which have been going on. So AI can help us in that manner as well, to predict something that this can happen. Then there are behavioral analysis. For example, as I said in one of the one of my points before, that for example, during the continuous monitoring and logging part, I said that at the night on 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., the system notices that an employee has logged in and they are trying to access some sensitive data. So these kind of analytics, the user behavior analytics, can be done by the AI as well. For example, if the employee suddenly starts accessing sensitive data at odd hours, it can trigger an alert. It can analyze the pattern which the employee is following, rather than just by looking at the data which is he is accessing. It might be the case that he is a genuine employee, but the AI can help us distinguish between a malicious traffic and a genuine traffic.
Okay.
Then AI can be used also in the incident response to make them automated. The AI-driven systems can automate incident response processes, enabling faster and more efficient handling of security incidents. This reduces time it takes to contain and mitigate threats.
Okay, you have some real life examples as well for this?
Yeah, so basically you can take an example right now. All the major tech players, like you can say, which deal with the sensitive data like fintech, BFSI, they are already using these techniques to use the AI for as a defense mechanism, basically to assist them or to augment their already existing cybersecurity landscape. So, for example, you can, for example, if someone is trying to transfer money from one account to another account by doing anything, like by doing phishing or by gaining the access, so those AI systems can actually are actually working right now in various banks. So they can actually see a pattern that this particular person has been transferring small amounts of money multiple times or to a specific account only. Okay, so those account can be a genuine account as well, but it can be a compromised account as well. So generally speaking, those AI systems can analyze that kind of thing, and they can alert the user that we have noticed this kind of activity, this kind of transactions which have been going from your account, but the AI thinks that this is not a normal transaction which is going on. For example, you generally transfers the money locally. Basically, I'm talking within the country, but suddenly it happens that a lot of transactions are going off out of the country as well. So here the AI can help you understand that this is this is not a normal behavior of you as a you as a user who has been transferring money within the country, but now they have started to do this outside the country as well. So the AI use cases, you see, there are a lot of use cases in the AI, but it depends on business requirements and case to case basis whether deploying an AI is beneficial and cost effective or not.
Right. Thank you so much, Neelkanth, for sharing your expertise on the evolving role of AI and machine learning in cybersecurity. It is rightly exciting and crucial area that will undoubtedly shape the future of how we protect our digital assets. Now, as we wrap up, I want to extend my gratitude to you, Neelkanth, for joining us today. Your insights into fostering a cyber-aware culture and the importance of addressing it has been incredibly valuable, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, Anmol. It was a pleasure to be here. I hope our conversation today helps organizations and individuals better understand the importance of cybersecurity and the human factor involved in it. And they will take proactive steps to protect their organization's sensitive and personal data.
Right. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Unthinkable Tech Podcast. Cybersecurity is more important than ever, and staying educated and vigilant is key. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. Until next time, keep listening.